Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cahoots. I'm your host, John, with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
That's not what this show is
What?
called.
No, I know.
It
I
maybe should be though.
I couldn't help myself. Annie
I
Sakamoto is
know.
with us. Annie, do you know the story behind Cahoots? Have you heard this yet?
No, I got confused for a second. I was like, wait, am I on the wrong podcast?
I
Wait,
love it.
Annie's like so nice that she wasn't gonna be like, oh no, I think maybe you told me the wrong thing, you guys. She was just gonna roll with it completely.
John.
It is well, it normally is cocktails. Last week with all the drama that and I'm just even saying it now with an eye roll because I'm just so over drama at this point. But with all the drama that went down within CrossFit, some of this other podcast was speculating as to like how all this got out in the community. And they literally said they think I'm in cahoots with CrossFit headquarters to help get out and like smooth the message. I'm like, like when did the meme guy become in cahoots with the higher ups at HQ? Like Eric's picking up the phone going, hey, John, listen, I'm about to do some really woke shit. I need you to start smoothing this out with all your followers. And of course, I'm like, Eric, you stole my look, bitch. So absolutely not. I am not helping.
Bitch stole my
look. Absolutely not. We look just alike. They're going to blame me anyway. And it was just so ludicrous. So
close from you. I get it now.
Yeah. So now it's just like, all right, well, I wish I was in cahoots. I want to check. I want better seats at the games. Like there's so many things I want. I want a better Fran time and I want everyone to lie about it. That's it.
I love it. All right.
That'd be so much better than money, actually.
Oh gosh, yes.
Did you guys know I have a 2:15 Fran time? It's really good. I've been working really hard on it.
And then everyone just goes, oh, wow, yes, you do. Wow.
John's super fit. Yeah, we've all seen it. We've all seen it, but the tape got ruined.
Witnessed it.
That's great. So welcome to this madness.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I normally get all when we get OGs on, I get all starstruck because I started CrossFit in 2011-ish, 2012 maybe. And all you guys were the rage. Like that's all I knew at the time. And for the record, your specific benchmark workout's the only one I'm good at, for whatever that's worth. The only one.
Do you scream when you hit the shower right afterwards too?
I do.
Yeah, of course.
This is a true story. That workout is the only one that I like really killed myself to get great at, because you don't have to be strong to be great at it. You just have to be able to do unbroken double unders and fast sit-ups, and
only.
Well, but comparatively to doing 30 snatches at 135 pounds or
you can get better at it quicker. Totally. I understand where you're coming from.
And it was the one workout I could compete with the big guys on. They'd get winded and they don't like doing sit-ups. So like I could go out there and actually do it. And I loved it. It's my favorite. So
and you ripped a little skin in the meantime to get there, huh?
Well, that's where all those AbMat memes come from. Yeah. And the guys at AbMat will actually message me. They're like, you're using our product wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to go really fast. That's all.
Yep.
Do you know that? Isn't this sad? I never ever got butt rash ever.
What?
Until I never did. I don't know. It was like this magical, beautiful situation where like everyone had it but me, and I never had like the moment in the shower or anything like that until I got pregnant. And now I can't do anything. I can't do like any sit-ups without like a full-on yoga mat situation, or else I get butt rash. It's not fair.
Wow.
Have a kid, they said.
Have a kid, they say. It'll change everything.
It'll be fun.
I was such an innovator back in the day. When I would get butt rash, what I would do, this is way too much information for everyone. I would go out and buy those big square Band-Aids, and I just put it on one side of your butt cheek so they wouldn't rub together. Totally works. It's a pro move if anyone wants to know.
When I first started coaching, and this was a million years ago because I started coaching back in 2011, there were some dudes in the gym that wore football shorts because their butt chafe was so bad, like padded. Yeah. And I saw it one time, like one of them pulled his pants down to show me, and it was, whoa, like all the way up one side of his crack, around like the tailbone, and all the way down the other side. I was like, you're doing something wrong. I don't know
Right.
what it is.
Right.
Something is not right.
No, it should be about yay big, and that's about it.
Yeah. Now, how does it feel having people discussing butt rash amongst the workout that is your namesake, truly?
Yeah. Let's call it chafing instead of rash. Like,
Okay. Good call.
rash just sounds, there's an allergic reaction or something happening. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I get, there's a lot of positive comments because obviously it is one of the workouts that people can RX really early on in their CrossFit career. And so I get a lot of kind of, oh, you were the first benchmark WOD I could ever RX. But then I do get a lot of, yeah, thanks for that scar on my tailbone. So it's funny. And I've been there, I've done it, had the chafe, not known it was there, hit the shower and thought there was a leech or some animal crawling on me. But it's, it's funny is I'm horrific at ab mat setups, like horribly slow at ab mat setups.
Is that why it's named after you? Almost like an ironic thing?
I think that's my guess, is that, I love double unders and I hate ab mat setups. And so it's kind of that combo of like a love, hate, two movements. And that's, I think that's how I got it. I don't know. It was like one day I woke up, opened up my computer, turned on CrossFit, went to CrossFit.com, and there was Annie 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 double unders and setups. And I was like, what is that?
Why?
So were they doing it as a compliment in those days, or were they trolling you? Like how did that line up?
I'm not, I know Eva's is nasty, and I'm not exactly sure how hers completely came about. I know with Nicole, she had gone back to the archives and she had found a workout that was a 20-minute AMRAP of a 400-meter run and max rep pull-ups. And she was like just horrifically sore, obviously like that kind of brachialis, the pull-up spot. And she complained to Greg about it for days. Hence that workout then became named Nicole. Like the workout Kelly was named after Kelly Moore, who was very avid on the CrossFit.com site in the early days. And she was super strong. And there was a workout that came out and she posted this amazing time. And I think she did it with the men's dumbbell weight. And everybody, came on and just, oh my God, Kelly, you're amazing. And that's great. And she said, well, yeah, that's because it wasn't running, wall balls, and box jumps. And literally the next day, like everybody turned on their computer and there was Kelly, 5 rounds of 400-meter run, 30 wall balls, 30 box jumps. So I'm not exactly sure why, there was no moment that should have spawned my workout, but I just remember, going to .com one day and there it was.
I love this stuff though, because it reminds me of the early days when I started, of how important the community was. Like we all got nicknames. Whenever we did something crazy, we would get a nickname for it.
Yeah.
And I forget sometimes in kind of today's environment where everything's online, that how powerful those connections were, and particularly in the early days of CrossFit. I was talking to Craig Howard about you today, actually.
Awesome.
From Diablo CrossFit, and he's a huge fan, as you know, of you. And he and I were talking about that, of just like the power of the affiliate and what it does for people's lives. Like, do you still feel that in Santa Cruz? Is it still as powerful for you today as it was when you started then?
100%. And, within the 4 walls of our affiliate, I think that's the truth. It's the community, the family that we have on a daily basis is amazing. But, I'll tell you, when everything went down, I don't know if that was a year or 2 years ago, I guess. And a lot of people were pulling out of CrossFit, de-affiliating. And really, if things hadn't changed, we would have de-affiliated as well. And it would not have changed what happens on a daily basis in our gym. But the thought of not having that kind of global connection was heartbreaking to me. Because again, I don't think it would have changed our day-to-day business. But one of the things I think we all, as affiliate owners, as coaches, but mainly as members of the community, pride ourselves on is kind of that greater global connection, that you could be anywhere in the world. And if you see a CrossFit or somebody who has a CrossFit shirt, you're like, that's my brother, that's my sister, that's my kind of people. And that is by far one of the most amazing things about CrossFit for me.
It feels a little bit like we're losing that. I want to find a way for us to get that back. Like when I would say it feels like we're losing it, I'm trying to remind myself recently that we have so much more in common than we do in different, and different from each other. And particularly when you think of these workouts, like we all have the same story about, butt rash, Like that's a commonality. Everybody gets it. We all have that story, and we could tell hundreds of stories about that. Whether it was the first time you ripped your hands, or the first time you hit yourself in the head with a barbell, and like all the dumb stuff we do as CrossFitters. And somehow we've, maybe it's just I don't know, since 2020 on, we've just kind of gotten caught up in ourselves and forget how much we really like each other.
Definitely, and that's why I think last year the Open was so great, and especially that they did the live announcements again, because again, I think that is somewhere where as CrossFitters we really rally around something together. And yes, on the games, but the Open, it's like everybody's doing it, we're all doing it, or at least we're watching people within our affiliates do it, we're rooting for them. And so I think, hopefully, like as the Open starts up again, we feel that kind of common bond again, because you're right, it is hard, and everything that's happened in 2020, 2021, obviously with the pandemic, but then just within CrossFit itself has been very divisive. And it would be really nice to have, like you're saying, a feeling of connection again.
Creating great memes though. For the record.
It's true. That is true.
Well, when you're in the business of memes, then that's a good. Are you the cause of all this, John?
I'm in cahoots.
Am I the drama?
Yeah.
That's him. That's
Wow.
John is the am I the drama? I just feel like in so many ways, like being hyper connected, right? Being online, being on social media all the time, like it can help and hurt us in so many ways. And I feel like the hyper connection has made it more difficult for people to just kind of like absorb news and process and form their own opinions. And it's tough because on the other hand, like it keeps us so much more connected, and you meet so many more people, and the community that we can develop online is so phenomenal. But on the sort of backhand of that is just the difficulty of getting sort of any news and processing that type of information in a way that's non-judgmental and not trolly and not the garbage fire that the internet is. And so it's just this very double-edged sword. I don't know. I would say like, oh man, I wish that we weren't all like on social trashing everything all the time. But then at the same time, I'm like, no, I'm so glad we're on social because I've met so many people from all over the world that share this thing that I love. And I don't know.
One of the times that I was like the most impressed with social media and just so happy that it exists is, when Eva T had her plane accident. And we last minute did this fundraiser because we knew she was going to need money. And it was like, we did it super quick. We didn't have a lot of prep. And I blasted it on my social media. And obviously people picked it up and blasted it. And we raised like $20,000 in less than a month for Eva. And it was 100% the power of social media. There were people messaging me from Holland and Australia and all over the world, like, how can we help? How can we help? And that's when I was like, social media is amazing. This is an amazing tool. But then, like you said, Nikki, then everybody, the divisiveness, all the information and people's need to like make this big statement on it and cause more divisiveness is a bummer. Like you said, double-edged sword.
I know. The same thing happened to us 2 years ago. My father-in-law's home burned down right before Christmas, like a freak accident chimney fire thing. And John was actually instrumental in spreading this. We did oh my God, what's it called when you raise money on the,
we did a GoFundMe for them.
It was a GoFundMe or whatever it was. Yeah. Just trying to like rebuild this poor man's home right before the holiday. And we raised like $13,000, and people donating from all over the world who don't know me, who don't know my husband, who are just like, oh man, that poor family, here's $50. And I was like blown away. I couldn't believe it. And you look at that kind of stuff and you're like, man, if it weren't for those people, where would we be? Where would those folks in the tough situations be? It's wild.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I meet virtually meet people all over the world. And I'm continually reminded about how good our community is. Like, I mean, I deal with a lot of trolls, but I get a lot of people that message, they just say the nicest things and tell stories about their communities in Germany and Austria and, all over Europe. And I'm always like, man, I can barely speak my language. How do you speak two or three, and they're just always so pleasant and funny, and they all have the same stories that we do. It's just, it's really amazing to me how similar CrossFitters are worldwide, where there's just so many dumb people all over the planet. It's great.
Thank God we're not those people.
I know, right?
No,
Of course not.
No.
So Annie, are you gearing up for the Open?
I am.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Open. I love this time of year. It's busy with my family right now, both kids in club sports, and we have practices, but yeah, I'm excited about the Open for sure. What about you guys?
Absolutely not. No,
You're not doing the Open?
no, I'm doing it. I'm just not excited
Oh,
about
crap.
it.
I was
No,
like, what? Oh.
no, I'm both. I was talking about this last night. I'm excited. I like the 3-week Open as opposed to the
Me too.
5-week Open.
Same.
It's
Huge.
better for my body for whatever that's worth. Like, as a master's athlete, that 5-week Open just destroyed me.
Yep.
Mostly because I do a lot of dumb things, and I couldn't handle it for 5 weeks straight. But this will be my, I took like a 2 or 3 year break in between from Opens. I was training for other things. So I want to say this is like my 7th or 8th Open, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm excited to see how I stack up against all the other old guys,
So we do a 4-week Open at my gym. Let me explain. We use the Open and kind of combine it with an intramural within the gym itself. So the gym is divided into teams, 2 teams, and you get points for your team, right? So you get a point for coming in and doing the workout, period. And the whole gym does the workout every, Friday or whatever. And then you can come in and do it again on Saturday or Monday or whatever you want to do. But you get 1 point for coming in and doing the workout. You get 1 point if you win the workout, per your division, highest, whatever in the gym. But you get 3 points for your team if you do the social media challenge for the week. So if anyone follows me and you've seen me do really stupid shit, like you try to put on one shoe while you're upside down, or you're trying to balance something on a PVC pipe. I mean, they're just really dumb, whatever, but it's to encourage participation, right? Rather than just say that the best or fittest or strongest people in the gym are the ones getting the points. So the final week of the Open, because we do, like I said, we do weeks 1 through 3 as part of our weekly class. The final workout is always CrossFit and games. So it might be CrossFit, you have to do some sort of 21:59, but then you also have to, I don't know, hit the ping pong ball into the cup, beer pong style, or there's a cornhole, something involved, or you got to do this puzzle real fast and then you got to go do wall balls. It's always some sort of gaming situation. And it's just a really fun way to bring our whole gym together.
Super fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you said you have kids doing club sports. How old are your kids?
My daughter is 15 and she plays volleyball. And then my son is 13. He plays basketball and baseball right now.
Oh man, you are busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine are 2 years apart, and that's a great spacing for kids, but so hard when they're that close and both I felt like I was running from one field to the other when they were both doing active sports.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. We were up in Sacramento last weekend for a volleyball tournament. My husband had stayed here because Izzy had 2 basketball games. And, but it's how lucky are we that this is what we get to be doing, that we have the means to do it, that we have kids that want to be doing it. And just, that there's activities up and running right now. So these are happy problems to be having.
Do they also do CrossFit, or are they just doing team sports right now?
They're just doing team sports. They've done it we, definitely during the pandemic, we kind of set up a gym in the backyard, and they've done it at gyms and stuff periodically, but actually my son, he has conditioning is a big part of baseball right now. And it's very CrossFit-esque. But they're much more into team sports, which I like right now, less into kind of the CrossFit side of stuff. And I'm good with that.
Mine went with me for a while, and I was taking them to CrossFit Mentality, which is Scott Panchik's gym.
Yeah.
And at the time, the twins were still training there. And Megan, my youngest, I was probably 15, probably the same age as yours, or, thereabouts. And we were training one day and we were doing deadlifts, and I was facing the back wall and she was facing the other wall. I'm not even sure why we were facing different directions, but I'm deadlifting. And I look at her and she's literally just standing there like a zombie. And I turn and look over my shoulder, and there's Spencer Panchik with his shirt off doing the ski erg. And I'm like, all right, you're done with CrossFit, young lady. like no more. I had to go lecture Spencer. I'm like, put your shirt on, buddy. My kids are here. Like an old man. Terrible.
Oh, kids these days.
I totally blame her, I gotta say.
Well, I mean, look, he's built like Adonis. I mean, the dude is shredded. So I couldn't really blame her. I'm just like, Meg, seriously, you can't even let me leave the room? She's like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
I can't even handle the fact that your kids are like full on teenagers right now. Like, when did that happen?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, and Megan just we're picking colleges probably this week or so. Like, she's been accepted to everything she applied to, and so now we just have to choose.
How old are you?
That makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, 20 and 18. Megan's the youngest. I hope I'm not spoiling the surprise. I think she's going to go to the University of Cincinnati, so we're going to be a Bearcat. But
awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she wants to be an interior designer. They have this awesome program, and it's just far enough away from her mom and dad that she's, probably going to be pretty happy. But she's got an uncle that lives in that city, so would be happy to have somebody close. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, not good for my wallet either way. I still got to pay for it. But.
I know. You guys, meanwhile, daycare starts in like 2 weeks in this house.
That's awesome. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
I need like a paper bag to breathe into.
Deep breaths.
No, you're going to love it. It's so good. It's so good for them. I mean,
I know.
Our kids did it. It was awesome.
Germs. I know. I know. There's no part of it that I don't love on paper, right? The germs, and that's good, and exposure and meeting new people and socializing and learning. Like, Lord knows I'm at home trying to work with him, but I'm really just like on a Zoom call and like bouncing him with my foot in the Bjorn. You know what I mean? Like, he's not interacting all day long. Like, I love everything about it, but the thought of dropping my kid off with strangers makes me want to throw up. It's an adjustment, and I'm like hyperventilating my way through it.
It'll only be like that for a couple of days. And then when you can move about your house like freely or get work done, you're going to be like, this is amazing. At least I will.
I know. No, I definitely will. I'll get there. I just am like, you go from like all day, every day with this human that you made. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, bye. See you in like 5 hours. And I'm like,
right.
My child.
Well, then they get a little older at daycare, though, and then they start making friends, and then it becomes really cute for you as you see them playing with others and learning to get along, and all the and then there's all the craziness that comes with that too. So
yeah,
it's a wild ride. It's always fun.
Yep.
I remember when Mira was at daycare. She's going to kill me for telling this story. She was little, and here's the problem with her having a dad like me, is I always say really bad things. So we get a call from the teacher, all serious, really serious, and she goes, hey, listen, Mira got in trouble today. We were in story time, and she reached over and touched a little boy. And I'm like, okay. They're like, no. She touched him where she shouldn't have touched him. I'm like, oh, well, did the story have a happy ending? And the teacher did not think that was was not amused even a little, not even a little. I'm like, what do you want from me? That was a good joke. Like, teachers have no sense of humor about these things.
None.
But this is the stuff you have to deal with. Like, they're little kids, like little kids. It's like, come on. Like,
they don't know.
Like, that's what she was going for.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This is what it is.
So
well, I'm excited, but I'm also actually terrified. So scared. So Lord help me.
It'll be good. We all sent our kids there, and they're all thriving now for the most part.
They all made it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
They
I
Annie,
just
just
can't
you're,
believe that we're
go ahead, Nikki. Go ahead.
no, nothing. I was just gonna say I just can't believe we're here. I don't know what, like, time doesn't make sense to me anymore. Just doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It does seem like just yesterday you guys got pregnant to me. I was just
know.
thinking that actually how fast this has
Yeah.
gone from point A to point B, you know?
Wild, right? Yeah. And we're already at 6 months. And you know what? And already like kind of asking ourselves, like, okay, well, shit, when are we going to do this again? Because you know, if you want kids close in age, and I'm already in my mid-30s and Matt's old as hell. So, you know, trying to already have that conversation of like, oh shit, we don't know what the hell we're doing even a little bit. Well, I guess we're gonna do it again at some point. What the
Wait,
fuck? It doesn't make any sense.
How old is Matt? You're hurting my feelings now. How old is Matt?
Matt will be 40 in December.
Oh, he is old as hell. Okay, he better get on it.
I know.
Time to get on it.
And he looks younger than me, which is so annoying. If you look at a picture of the two of us and you're like, one of these people is 33 and one of them is 39, which is which. I guarantee you 10 out of 10 people will be like, that bitch is old. Guarantee.
No.
But do you know what gives me some like a little bit of peace and faith is when I think about potentially doing this again is, Annie, I don't know if you remember this, but man, we were doing games part 1 in 2020. And we were at the ranch and I was not yet pregnant, but trying, like tracking my ovulation, whatever we were talking. But at the time I was still like just so scared of being pregnant and like ruining my body forever. And by the way, all that shit goes out the window after you actually have a kid, which you told me, but at the time I didn't believe you. And I was like, I'm going to have cankles forever. And you told me that like the fittest, or like at least feeling the best that you've ever felt was the time period between your two kids, like after having one before you got pregnant with the second. And that kind of like, I think about that a lot, just so you know, like maybe multiple times a day. I'm like, well, Annie said that this is going to be a good period of time for me.
Yeah. Well, and actually even about a year after I had my second, I felt great. For sure that time period, up until like my late 30s, I felt like, you know, obviously, notwithstanding the time I was pregnant, was for sure some of the fittest I've ever been, the best I've ever felt.
So I say that to myself all the time when I'm like, when my back hurts just from like sitting down on the toilet, I'm like, Annie said this is going to get better. And then I'm going to feel the fittest I've ever been right around the time I'm having kids. It's going to get better. I swear.
It's going to happen, Nikki. I promise.
I always have this twinge of jealousy when people that incredibly fit go, oh, that was when I was the fittest I ever was. When you're still incredibly fit, like you're still competing, like which is unreal to me with all the stuff you do between competing and, you know, now you're doing the broadcast stuff. Like you're like the busiest person in CrossFit. It's amazing. How do you keep up with all of it?
Well, I'm lucky. I have a very supportive husband and family. And yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot of balls that I'm juggling right now. But I feel so fortunate that I have all of these opportunities. It just means I really have to kind of plan out my days, you know, really kind of think about things but I love it. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't choose any other way to be living right now.
Well, I love you on the broadcast desk when you do that. Please keep doing that. Do you have plans to continue to do that? Please say yes.
As long as they'll ask me, I'll say yes. You know, sometimes much to my family's demise, they're like, wait, what? You're going where? Are you what? But I love it. And, you know, a lot of it, I think maybe Nikki and I have talked about this. It's really challenging for me, even still. It's like, I didn't go to school for broadcasting. As much as I love to talk, I don't think of myself as a public speaker. And so it's really nerve-wracking to me, but I'm just somebody who I love to be challenged. And so kind of the challenge of learning how to do this and trying to do it and trying to get better, I love it.
Well, if you ever need to practice, I'll pretend to be Sean Woodland and I'll take off my glasses. I'll be less funny and it'll be just like him. It'll be great. It'll be great.
The only difference will be normally we stack plates for Annie to stand on so that she's not way too short for Sean. Maybe we wouldn't have to do that.
I should also say I am already less fit. I'll have to pretend to be more fit because Sean is more fit than me. He's a fit dude.
He's very fit dude.
Did
Very
you
pretty.
see? And I never realized how fit Sean was. I mean, I knew he was fit, whatever, but last year, I think it was 21.1. And he did the workout after the announcement, and he posted, or somebody posted a picture of him without his shirt on. And I was like, oh my God, Sean Woodley is ripped.
Yeah.
Ripped.
Completely. And I feel like has been like getting more ripped year over year, where I'm like, all of us are getting like old and fat and tired. And meanwhile, Sean's like killing it out there in the fit game. What the fuck?
He's getting so ripped. I've been pushing for them to test the games desk. Like,
believe me, John, if we could, we would, but we can't. If we could get the stuff and be, I say, Matt laughs all the time because we always say it like as a joke, like, man, if we could get those good steroids, believe me, we would, because I would be out there looking ripped and fly and not competing, and I wouldn't give a shit. And like,
right. Well, and I mean, there's a lot of people who have said it, like, if you're not competing and you want to do steroids, go ahead, right? It's only once you're competing. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you don't like your nutsack, just go for it.
Yeah, why not? Who needs it?
Why not?
I think it speaks to the power of the brand, though, or the power of CrossFit itself, though. I see Sean training online like everybody else, and it's not like he's got some magic formula. He's out there doing 21, 15, 9 or whatever, while his kid's sitting in a playpen next to him, and he gets it in where he can get it in. He's not doing 4-hour long workouts. He's doing 20-minute workouts that are intense, and they are constantly varied. Like, it's not magic.
I do love that about our sport and our broadcast specifically. And I don't think that a lot of other sports have that, which is fine. Like, you don't need to be, a competitor in the sport in order to commentate on it well in a lot of other sports. But in our sport, because we're so community based, I do feel like it's really special that a lot of our broadcast team is either competing or was competing or has been coaching or is a part of the community in one way, shape, or form, even just goes to the gym every single day. I feel very lucky that we all are so very much like a unimind, if you will, in that sense. Like, the hive mind is strong, because if you bring an outsider in, it is really hard to bring them up to speed on all the things that you need to like think very nimbly on in a CrossFit broadcast.
Yeah. Well, there's like definitely that technical side of it, but even just the empathetic side of it and understanding, like, when you're talking about an athlete, when they're in the middle of a workout, it's you've been there, you've done it, and it may not be this workout, but you can definitely speak to it much better, knowing what it means to be, in the middle of 21:59 of something or whatever it is.
Can you imagine bringing in an outsider to the games? Like, I walked into the games last year, into the Coliseum, and it was in the event where they were doing the handstand push-ups, but they were freestanding. Remember that one? And it was like the ladder, and it's the one that Annie won. And I walked, like, I'm a veteran CrossFitter. I've seen everything stupid that could ever be done. And I walked into that, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing right now? Like, I was so confused, and I've seen it all. Imagine if you had no idea.
Right.
What CrossFit was like, and trying to describe that to someone.
It just looks like the circus.
Yeah.
Plus the team events already are like a circus usually. Like, they're just
hard to follow. Yeah. You know what's interesting? A lot of times we have this really great, like, behind the scenes crew, right? And that's down to, like, obviously the guys in the truck who are super experts at not only broadcast, but also CrossFit. And a lot of times even the camera guys and gals are people that we've worked with many, many times over. But sometimes we'll bring in or filter in like local people or camera crews or people who are excellent at the technical stuff, but have never seen CrossFit. And to watch Rothy and the truck team like sit these people down and basically crash course them on all things CrossFit, and like, this is a thruster, this is what it looks like at this stage, they will have completed the movement, and then they will advance to this spot. It is like, it's beautiful. Right. It's like a symphony. It's really just a testament to how wonderful and professional and knowledgeable those people are who run the broadcast, honestly.
Will you be working any of the open announcements? Are you allowed to say? Am I asking in a bad question?
They haven't. I'll say they haven't asked me yet. I mean, I definitely hope to, but we shall see. I'm not even sure what the plan is as far as the open goes. Just what they posted was that yesterday, that there will be live announcements.
Well, they have
Yeah,
the
I
little
haven't heard
silhouettes, and
anything
I was trying to
either.
line up the silhouettes to figure out who they were, like everybody
Yeah.
else. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, so were we. And
I'm
we've
like,
been in them.
I'm like some sort of
I'm like, is
CrossFit
one of those
sleuth.
me?
Yeah,
Right.
right
Am I
here.
in the announcement?
Am I in there? Have they just not called me yet? Is that me?
Well, I was looking at them like, it looks like 2 men and 2 women, but by that token, one could be Boz. It's like, it could be long hair. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah,
And in CrossFit, you can't tell by the height. You just can't.
definitely
It's
not.
true.
You know?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Last year for open announcements, I was part of the broadcast team live from my basement.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
It was so cool. I was so happy that we were like kind of like taking advantage of the fact that people are living that Zoom life, and there's
Yeah.
the technology out there and we're using it. Like we got a crew all over the place. But it was hilarious because I had to stage my basement to like look kind of cool in the background with like some plates and like a Noble backpack, and I had like my ring light. Meanwhile, I'm set up on my old like beer pong table from the garage. It has like, it's like covered in stains and it's sticky, and I was like, this is not glamorous, but at least it looks good.
But I was just so glad they did the announcements, because I think, after what a crazy year 2020 was,
Totally.
I think it really helped rally the community and kind of give the community some faith in the fact that that CrossFit was trying to go back to the open, the semifinals, looking a lot like regionals, and then the games. And yeah, it was heartening for sure.
One thing they did,
Yeah,
I
love
don't
it.
remember if it was during those open announcements or it might have been during semis. I forget which, but what I hope they do this year is do more marketing around what the affiliates are doing, because they ran some commercials last year around like, here's what's going in the affiliates, and here's what our community looks like. And for me, that's really heartwarming. Like, I'm with you. I love the open announcement because it brings the community together, and we do Friday night lights, and it's like super fun. But I also want the people seeing it to be reminded of like how cool everything that we do is. And I think it's a real opportunity for CrossFit to tell that really positive message, and especially in light of kind of all the drama recently.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the complaints was like, too much focus is on the elite athletes. And it's like, well, that's CrossFit's choice, like 2019, let's say, or whatever. Well, that was CrossFit's choice on how they're going to put the message out. Like you're saying, Dawn, all they have to do is make some commercials, highlight some of these affiliates that just, your average CrossFitters doing the open and how their affiliates do it. And, all of a sudden it's accessible and meaningful to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think my favorite assignment ever in the like basically almost decade that I've been doing CrossFit media at this point was being on the desk for the games part 1 pre-show, where we just had a ton of community stories, like over and over, epic interviews and really amazing pieces of content that the CrossFit HQ team put together about people who were overcoming adversity, people who had lost weight, adaptive athletes, like unbelievable community engagement. That was by far my favorite thing that I've ever done. I thought it was awesome and very well put together.
Yeah, that representation is super important. Like, I can't tell you how many people, every time I post something for the adaptive group, someone inevitably will message and go, oh, I have a brother or a sister who has the same impairment. I didn't even know people did this. I should, get them involved. And like, that's how my dad got into CrossFit, from watching me do it. He's 77 now, and he's out there doing all the same crazy stuff we do, and he wouldn't have done it had he not seen other people doing it. Normal people, and I'm as normal as they come, well, for the most part, but regardless, I think that's the point.
CrossFit can utilize the big stage and the big audience that they're getting with the elite athletes to market the affiliates. I mean, it just seems like such a no-brainer, right? It's like, we're on CBS Sports, perfect. Now let's highlight the affiliates.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I hope that's where it's going. I mean, I was told someone that today. I was talking to Craig about that today, and I said, if I were CEO, if anyone wants to ask me to do it, my North Star for the company would absolutely be all of the marketing goes toward the affiliates and growing the affiliate brand. The games are important, but you should use that as a jumping point to get people into the affiliates, because that's where the growth is. And bluntly, if you get people in, they're going to end up just like all of us doing it for a decade.
Yep.
This isn't I realize there's still, a pretty decent amount of churn, I would imagine, at the affiliate level, people that, do it for a year and bail, but there's also a pretty decent amount of people like us that are just stubborn as hell that are never going to leave.
Exactly.
They're going to have to drag us out of there somehow.
Yeah. So are you on that short CEO list?
God, I hope. Yeah. Well, I'm in cahoots, so of course.
Oh yeah. Number one on the list, didn't you know?
John Cahoots.
Only if they're trying to tank the company and sell it. That's all.
Been done before.
It's the only thing I could, for the life of me, I can't figure out why somebody can't just figure out how to run this thing easily. Like, it should be a cash cow, but people try to fancy it up too much. Like, there's no money in the games. The games are your advertising space.
Exactly.
The money's in the affiliates. This business model's not that hard to figure out.
Yep.
It really isn't.
I really like that John simplified running this company to like, quit trying to fancy it up.
That's what they're doing. They've always done this. They've always tried to fancy it up. They put all this money into the games that they know doesn't make money. They know it doesn't. They have a budget. They can see the budget. They know what they're spending. CrossFit's a very unique business in the fact that most businesses, as they grow, the corporate structure should grow with it, right? CrossFit's exactly the opposite of that. CrossFit is a business as the affiliates grow, the corporate structure does not need to grow at all or very little. Like, it certainly does not need to grow at the same pace. Like, there was news today, people are kind of raising hell about Peloton. The CEO, who is the founder, stepped down and is taking a chairman role, kind of similar to what's going on within CrossFit. But the difference is they laid off 2,600 people when they did it because they're hemorrhaging money. And I'm looking at it going, how the hell do they have 2,600 employees to lay off? They're an online bicycle company. Like, how did that happen? And it's because
they mismanaged the pandemic.
Yeah, they fancied it up. That's my point.
Yeah.
Fancied it up.
Yeah. And CrossFit,
well, let's face it, a lot of us got into CrossFit because it wasn't fancy.
Yeah.
Right.
That was a lot of the draw for a lot of us, right? The attraction was how not fancy it was.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's still staying that way on the affiliate level for the most part. Yeah.
I think so too. And I certainly hope it continues to do that. I mean, I know affiliates are still opening. I hope this new generation of affiliates have the same passion that your gym does, Annie, and that Craig's gym and, the first one I was in, because in those days, and I don't want it to be, in my day, things were better, but in those days, it really was special. Like, no one sat around and talked about what was going on at headquarters. We just talked about what time we had to be back tomorrow and how horrible the workout was going to be.
Right.
That's the way it should be. I think.
Yeah.
But.
Well, John, you did a really nice really nice job tonight, not totally fangirling over the fact that we had Annie on the show, because I know that you've been really, really looking for. Oh, okay, maybe it's still coming.
Yeah, maybe. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at reining it in these days, for the most part. I will say, this is a true story though. First time I met Annie was, I forget the name of the club was, but it was in Madison at the Fit 8 after party.
Yes.
And this was a weird moment for me because it was my first year at the games, and the page was a third the size it is now, and I wasn't wearing anything to identify myself. I was just wearing a gray shirt and some jeans, and several people had stopped me. So it was starting to feel weird that people were recognizing me and I wasn't having to identify myself. And then Annie came over and goes, "Hey, can I get a photo with you?" And I'm like, shouldn't I be asking you for a photo with you? Like, this is weird now, like totally weird. And we snapped a photo.
I thought you were Sean Woodland.
Yeah, probably. Probably. But I was totally on cloud nine, because I'm like, one of my favorite athletes wanted a photo with me, and I can't believe, like, all I figure is like all these people taking photos of me, including you, 10 years from now, are gonna look back at those photos and go, "Who the hell is this old guy?"
No way.
Why was I taking a photo with that old bald dude?
The girls that I was with in Miami, John, they were beside themselves that they got to meet you, and they're like just chomping at the bit with the fact that I'm going to be on your podcast. And yeah. Oh yeah.
My cheeks hurt from smiling through this conversation so much.
it gets so weird sometimes, like, because I can't wrap my mind around why people would feel that way. But there's also the other side of me that feels really, really blessed and humbled that people find joy in this work, whether it's the podcast or the meme page or whatever.
Yeah.
And it feels, I don't know if obligation is the right word, but I do feel obligated to continue to give back to the community, because the community bluntly has saved my life and my dad's life and helped my family in so many different ways that I can't imagine not being a part of it at this point, which is why I want the affiliates to do so well, because I think it does that for others.
I would say, John, I feel the exact same way across all situations there. It's like you're just doing what you love. And the fact that you're getting any sort of notoriety or fame off of it is it's almost confusing. It's hard to wrap your mind around. But like you said, and it's the same for me. It's why I would never turn down a podcast or anything. Is I want to give back to the community in any and every way that I can. And I just enjoy it so much. So I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Well, I am curious, before we wrap up, kind of what's next for you, like coming up. Are you wanting to work through this open and take another run at the games? Or are you just going to do this open and then just, grace us at the games desk?
Right now, my plan most definitely is to compete this year. I love competing. I have always said, though, that I will never compete at the expense of my family. And so, I'm just gonna have to see kind of how the season plays out. Like I said, last year was a great year to compete for me because of the pandemic, both kids were not quite involved in sports to the same degree that they are right now. And, at 15 and 13, I only have so many more years of being able to support them in sports and being at every game and every tournament and driving them. And so I just have to kind of watch how the season plays out and how their seasons play out, because I don't want to do it at the expense of missing stuff for them. But right now, my plan, I'm training like I will compete, and like I'm trying to qualify for the games again. And I love training. So it's not like training to compete is any different than how I'd be training if I wasn't going to compete. So,
well, that's ironic, because I too gave up my run for the games to watch my daughters in high school. So.
Yes. Yeah.
How come you're not asking me that question?
What's your plan, Nikki?
If I'm not attacking the open this year so that I could try to make for a run for the games, how come you're not asking me that?
Because you said you're going to 21-15-9 making another baby.
Yeah, potentially. That's true, I suppose. No, I had originally pre-baby, I had the goal of kind of being ready for the open this year at the RX level, and post baby, I realized that is an insane goal. And so I will more than likely be taking on the open again this year in a scaled capacity, but we'll see. I'm close, but if there's any like high level gymnastics, I'm just not back to where I was, and that's okay. So no big deal.
Well, and my philosophy has always been like, I will always train to be in CrossFit forever. So I won't, that's the other thing I'll never do, is I won't train or do anything today at the expense of being in CrossFit for as long as I can. I mean, my ultimate goal is to be doing CrossFit 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And I won't do anything that jeopardizes that ability.
Smart. That's so smart.
Well,
it's my passion. I love this.
Yeah, well, I am sure you're going to be wildly successful at it. I want to see you win the games this year now.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Go make it happen.
Maybe you could go get in cahoots with some of the
I'm absolutely going to get in cahoots and make sure the workouts play to your strengths. So just shoot me a message. Tell me what you want them to be, and I'll make sure they're exactly what you want.
Okay, perfect. Can we say 0 wall balls?
Yeah.
None at all.
That's actually done, right? Didn't they say they open no wall balls, no rowing?
Correct.
Like everyone my height were just punching air. I'm just like, what the hell? Those are the 2 things I'm good at.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. But and I like they added a stage of competition, because they took, for the age group, they took away 10 spots to the games,
right.
But they did add a stage of competition this year. So there still could very well be some wall balls and rowing very easily.
I guarantee you there will be wall balls and rowing. Girl, It's coming.
I know. I get 100 a day.
No, good prep. That's good open prep.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to watch you compete. I'm excited to watch you on the desk, and I'm super excited you came on and talked to us tonight, Annie. So thank you for joining us.
I'm super honored that you guys even asked me. Thank you.
See, I can't even believe you'd feel that way. When everyone that's listening to this, they have to know, like, when I asked Annie to be on, she's like, well, it's about time. And I'm like, what the hell?
It truly was about time, because we've been talking about it like forever. I mean, you could probably go back and listen to several episodes and we're talking about people we would love to have on the show, and you've literally come up a million times. So
I love it.
You're right. It was about time.
Anytime, all the time. I'm down.
All right. Yes. Great. You're our new third host. All right.
Perfect. Welcome.
Well, all right. Well, this has been fun. Nikki, great seeing you as always.
Likewise.
Tell your old man I said hello. Now that I know he's old. Now that I know he's old as hell.
Old as dirt.
Old as dirt. And for everyone listening, we appreciate you joining tonight, and we will chat with you guys soon.